Hello, I'm Tammy Fanning, the Associate Dean of Students here at UW-Superior. Primarily my job is to work with student conduct on campus and to try to help our students understand the code of conduct and why they may want to actually follow that. At this point in time today, I am going to talk to you a little bit about academic misconduct and the protocol and procedures that you as faculty may need to follow as you proceed into the semester. And unfortunately, we do find people who plagiarize, who cheat. There is a specific process that our instructional staff needs to follow. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of academic misconduct, I wanted to share with you some tips and pieces of information that you may want to implement into your classroom that could possibly help deter academic misconduct and really encourage more academic honesty. Those things are laying out the expectations that our institution and you value academic honesty and integrity and how important that is to the whole learning process. It is extremely important to state that in your own words and also include that in your syllabus so that students have it in a written fashion, kind of as a contract with you as a faculty member, and then as well they understand that they can go back to potentially at a later date. We also have a university pledge. Each new student who came to campus actually does pledge that pledge to the entire campus their first few days that they're here to state that they actually are going to be honest and have academic integrity, and we do hold them accountable to that particular pledge as well. We also want you to refer possibly and review some of the citing that they may have to do within your class as well, teaching them how to cite resources and what your expectations are, what methods you want them to follow. A lot of professors also use the Turnitin mechanism as well and encourage students to actually run their paper through Turnitin prior to handing in that paper. That way students can see how much of their particular paper may be plagiarized before turning it in, or maybe not cited well enough before turning it in to you. The last thing that needs to be on your syllabus, and probably the most important, is the actual policy, which is Chapter 14, and it is a state statute that is also on our website. Please be sure to review with them that policy and what their rights and responsibilities are, and what your rights and responsibilities are in that process as well. Talk to them about the potential consequences for cheating in class or for plagiarism. And again, that can be a short 10-15 minute lecture at the very beginning, letting them know that that's extremely important to you and to our campus that happens. So with that being said, there are multiple different types of academic misconduct that can actually occur. Chapter 14 lays it out specifically. I'm just going to name a few of them. It is a type of misconduct that occurs obviously within the classroom and or within classroom activities. Academic misconduct is an act in which a student seeks to claim credit for work or the efforts of another individual without authorization from that individual or without citing that individual. The student also could use unauthorized material or fabricated data in any of their academic exercises that are required in your course. They also could forge or falsify academic documents and or records. The three other definitions for academic misconduct through Chapter 14 are intentionally impeding or damaging the academic work of others. For instance, somebody may have a video that they have to turn in, and that particular video or document is actually destroyed, and you find facts that someone within your course may have destroyed those types of documents for class. Engaging in conduct aimed at making false presentations of other students' academic performance, and then as well assisting other students in any of these acts. So if a student, even if they're not in your course, may have handed off a test from your class to another student, and that student receives a perfect grade on your test, and you find out that another student, again outside of your course, has done that, that would be referred to me and I would work with that student as well. But again, academic misconduct can also happen with students that are not necessarily enrolled in your course. There are plenty of different examples of academic misconduct, and I'm sure that each of you have quite a few in your mind as well that you've experienced over the course of the years. I did want to mention to you probably one of the most common academic misconduct situations that I might see in my office is plagiarism. And many students now in our cut and paste days just go right to the internet, copy something, and then bring it back to their paper, slip it in without any kind of citation. That happens quite often, even in our upper level courses, and I think that it's important to keep your eyes and ears open for that. Many professors will run some of their papers through Google, or at least the parts that they think that might be copied through Google, and surprisingly find exactly what is quoted on the internet within their paper. And so, again, keeping your eyes and ears open to that. The next step that we want to talk about is really what the process is about and your responsibility in terms of how you will report this and when it will actually occur. There are a few principal things to remember. Number one, Chapter 14 is actually a state statute on the legal document. I think it's important to know that we are required to follow this process. If we don't follow the process, I would say highly unlikely that there's litigation that would actually happen or anything brought to the courts, but at the same time, there are due process steps within that we do need to respect for our students. And as well, just fairness issues are kind of addressed within the policy as well. So please be aware of that. If you find academic misconduct, please make sure that you follow the process. It's important to remember, too, that the whole process is confidential for students. A student's academic misconduct file is actually covered under FERPA, which is our Federal Education Right to Privacy Act, and it's important for us to make sure that that confidentiality is held. So when an incident of academic misconduct may occur, cheating on a test in class, we're not talking about that situation just inside of class with the student and all other students present. It's usually a one-on-one conversation with the student, and then we also do not release that information to other folks. The only time when we might share those types of things would be with our colleagues within our area. If there is an egregious violation of academic misconduct, I think it's important to share with your colleagues that you have a student who you're concerned about cheating. Has anything happened in other courses within your area? So that we are thorough at addressing those issues that a student may have with academic misconduct. And also, one of the things that I ask that all faculty and academic staff do when they're instructing a course is to kind of step back from the situation. I think a lot of times we get very offended by the fact that a student may have cheated in our class. How could they do that? That's just so disrespectful. That's so not, what we do within higher education. We create our own thoughts and provide our own information. At least typically that would we hope for them to do. I think that it's important to understand that a student has a choice in this process. They have a choice to meet with the faculty member. They have a choice as to whether or not they're honest or dishonest. And they have, the opportunity to defend themselves or not defend themselves. And I think that it's important for you and for all of us to step back and say it's not about the faculty member, it's not about the class, it's about actually the student and their choices. That being said, allowing the students to make that choice and as a matter of factly as possible, applying any sanctions or consequences to their academic misconduct that need to be done without feeling there's a personal connection to that. The last tip that I have for you in the whole process is to make sure that you do read the chapter thoroughly, understand it, and I'll be honest with you, each time that a non-academic misconduct situation occurs, I reread Chapter 17, which is kind of the format that I follow outside of the classroom, and I would really encourage you to kind of glance through and read and understand Chapter 14 each time that you may go through an academic misconduct within your class.